What is going on? What is going on, young man? I am the over 50 guy slash the online dad. On my lives and on my channel, I give young men practical advice to help you avoid a lot of the crazy and pitfalls and bad decisions that I made when I was in my 20s. So that when you get to my age, when you get into your 40s and 50s and that, you can live a life with, full of options and resources, right? So that's what I do. And that's what we're going to do this morning. So good morning to you all. I got kicked out of my, I'm running a little late. I got kicked out of my studio. I share that with my fiance, and she has calls and that this morning. Somebody stole my tripod, and that's where I usually do my stuff at. I usually do it at the park or outside of my studio as not to interrupt my chick. Um, but I got kicked out this morning, so I'm in the car, right? So, but we don't miss. We do not miss here with the over 50 guy. We get it in. We don't miss. So, good morning to you guys. Listen, what I want to talk about this morning. I want to talk about dating and relationships and that type of thing. One thing, young man, that I found out much later in my dating career, I'm talking about like almost my 40s, was this concept that I want to discuss with you this morning. And it is simply becoming the man that she will break the rules for, that she will break her rules for, right? Becoming that type of man, right? Or being the man that she would do that for. And what do I mean by that, guys? I mean that, early on, I learned when you're dating and that, as a man, you have to win the woman over, that there's things that you have to do, rather it be, taking her out, buying her things, showing affection, all of that stuff. I learned early in life, and rather that was through watching, movies or reading the Hallmark cards, whatever the case may have been, that you kind of learn that, right? You learn that you again, it's this ideal of winning. You got to win her over. And I spent a lot of my life. We got four people in. No one's showing up yet. So good morning to you guys who are in. Listen, if you're new, let me break what I'm talking about. If you're new, I do this for about a half hour. I talk about a topic, my topic, for about 15 minutes, and then I get into answering questions for you guys. Okay. So back to what I was saying. So yeah, man. I learned that thing early in life, that if you want the woman, right, you got to win her. You got to win her over. You got to do stuff. You got to be that guy that is willing to, go above and beyond, right, to win her affection, right? If you want sex from this woman, you got to do something. You got to do something, right? And on a level, while that's true, that's not true in the sense that I'm talking today. And, you know, later in my dating life, man, I would see men who didn't have to do that type of stuff. I would see the popular guys. I would see the athletes. I would see the ballers, the drug dudes. I would see, and it didn't even look like they were trying. It didn't even look like they were trying to win women over. It just looked like, they was like, listen, you know what? You can be here or not. I really don't give a shit. It was that type of thing. And I'm stuck because I'm looking at this like, well, wait a minute. How are they doing this thing where I'm jumping through hoops and I'm trying to, I'm buying, I'm making the phone calls, I'm trying to spend time, and it seems like this woman is like running from me, right? Meanwhile, the guy over here who's not doing any of that seems to be getting a wide share of her attention. And it wasn't until, like I said, I was, well after my 20s, well into my 30s, 40s, before I realized that those are the type of men that she has no problem breaking rules for, right? I can't tell you how many girls I've dealt with that, ooh, I don't, no, I don't sleep around. I don't do that on the first date. She don't do that with you on the first date. But she does that. She does that and a whole lot more on the first date. If it is the person she really likes, if it is the person that she really wants, then she is willing to break every rule in the book for that person, right? And all you have to do is look around and you see that, right? I understand that they're like just kind of loose women, and morals ain't all what they need to be. No cut, same thing for men. But I'm just saying, why is it that you would think women will line up? You hear about these entertainers, and after they get done with the show, they're back at the room, and there are women lined up, and they know they're not going into this room to have tea and crumpets. They going into that room to get up off that box, and they are willing to do that, right? You would think that, and if you just listen to them, I would never do a thing. But if it's with the person that they really want, right, they absolutely will, right? So knowing that, what should you be doing, young men? Especially if you're in your 20s and that, you need to be working on becoming that type of man, right? You need to be working on becoming that type of man instead of running after them and trying and doing all of this stuff to try to win them, right? If you really understand that if you're the right type of man, it don't take all that. It don't take all of that, right? When I was in my 20s and I was in really, really, really good shape, right? That I could, the man that is trying to talk to the chick, and he's trying to rap, and he's trying to do this, and he's trying to do that. The way that I looked at that time was enough that with many women, I didn't have to do all of that. I was tall, I was very muscular, and for the most part, they just wanted to experience that, right? So because I was the man that they wanted, it didn't take all of that, what the other man was trying to do. Rather it was trying to buy her attention, rather it was trying to buy her time, buy box, whatever. In a sense, on a lot of occasions, I didn't have to do that. Why? Because I was the man that she wanted. Rather it was for my physique, rather what she thought that, any of those things. The point I'm trying to make to you, young men, is that you don't have to jump through all of these hoops. If there is a woman that is making you jump, and I don't do this and I don't do that, you got one or two choices. You need to find the type of woman that wants you enough that you are that man that she's willing to break the rules for. Or you need to make yourself into the type of man that women will do that for, right? Okay. Yeah, you need to make yourself, young men, make yourself into that type of man that women are willing to jump through hoops for. What type of man is that? That's the type of man that has resources. It's the type of man that has money, right? That's the type of man, by and large, that women are after. Women aren't after women ain't breaking rules for you if you ain't got no money. If you don't have something that they want or they can use, they ain't breaking no rules for you, right? You want to be physically attractive. You want to be in shape. Now, when you compare that to money, that's a fine line. Because I have seen some, not so attractive men, but they have the right amount of money, and that attractiveness thing goes out the window. So you can play with those. But I'm like, I'm like this older woman that I saw. She does videos. She told her young daughter or whoever, she said, you got to pick your struggle. You got to pick a struggle out here. You can't be dumb and nasty. She was talking to her granddaughter. So the same thing is for men. You know, you got to pick a struggle. You know, it'll be great if you could be in shape, if you can be handsome, tall, money, all of that. But, you know, unless you're extremely lucky, you just don't walk in. You can't do anything about your height. You can't do anything about your attractiveness, you know, or how you look, the way you were born. But there are things that you can do to improve that, right? So being getting into the gym and taking care of yourself and you know, building your physical attractiveness, your physique, things like that. This is a thing that you can do to become that type of man, building your value as a man. Again, finding that purpose, learning how to monetize it, finding a career that you are good at, learning how to monetize it so that you can be the type of man that a woman will break rules for. It is, listen, I've been there, man. I have been there. It is tough. It is tough not being that man, right? I didn't understand it at the time. I just didn't understand it. I thought it was normal, right? That this is just kind of what you do when you're trying to get at chicks. But man, when I look back on it and I think about all of the stuff that I did and all of the hoops that I jumped through, and knowing now that there was a guy somewhere that the young lady that I was after really wanted, she really wanted this guy, right? And she gave and done stuff that I had to wait for, that I had to shell out money for, time. I had to do all of that again. I had to jump through all kinds of hoops. I had to jump through all kinds of hoops to get what this guy over here who wasn't doing any of that. He wasn't doing any of that. As a matter of fact, he was doing like the opposite. And everything that I was jumping through hoops to get, he was getting for free. He was getting that for free, young man, because he was the man that she was willing to break her rules for, right? And I believe, guys, if I would have known that earlier, two things I would have been doing. If I would have known that earlier, I would have been really like trying to build myself up more. Like I said, the money. I had the physique thing, but that only went so far. Knowing what I know now and what I'm telling you now, I would have been building up my monetary, right? I would have been building up my money so that, you know, I looked like I would have those resources that she would be after, that I looked like I had the money and I actually had it. So, you know, you'd be willing to break rules if you think that I really got bread like that and I'm willing to get up off of it, right? The next thing I would have done, guys, is that once I realized that I wasn't that guy for that lady, once I realized that I wasn't the guy that you would be willing to break the rules for, I'm out. I'm fucking out. I ain't jumping through hoops and I ain't doing all of that shit. Why? Because you got a box? So does every other woman out here, right? Why would I jump through these hoops and do all of this stuff when I know that there's a guy that you are doing, you're giving this to for free and ain't got to do nothing, right? You're making me wait. You're making me wait for sex, for instance. You know, I don't do that and I don't. So now I got to start whining and dining and I got to start spending money, because if I do all of this stuff, you'll give me some and this, that, and the other. Meanwhile, again, Pookie and Ray Ray is over here and they ain't doing shit. And they knocking that thing out the box every night. So if I knew that, guys, if I knew that like I know now, No, if I'm not the man that you're not willing to break rules for, I'm not interested. I'll find a woman that I, I will find a woman that sees me as the man that she's willing to break rules for. And if I can't find her immediately, while I'm waiting, I am building myself with the resources. I'm building myself physically. I'm building myself to become that man, right? But this ideal of just running and this idea, guys, of just running and after them and not realizing that thing that cost me a lot of time, a lot of confusion, a lot of heartache. So don't be that guy, guys. And the only way you can go through life without being that guy is just to know and understand that. And listen, I understand if you really, but over 50 guy, I really like her. I like her and I want her to like me and all of that type of stuff. And I understand that. I get it. I get it. But you have to determine how far you're willing to go for that like, right? And knowing what I know now, I ain't willing to. I just am not willing to go to the depths that I went to years ago. I'm not willing to do that again because I know that there is a guy that doesn't have to, and I want to build myself into one of those guys. I want to build myself into one of those, or you want to build yourself into one of those guys that has enough going for him, that, a woman will see you as, a good candidate to break them rules for, right? And that's what you want. You want a woman to especially at your age now, while you're dating, you want a woman to see you as valuable enough, right? And that's what they see in those other guys that don't have to, rather they have money, rather it is they're popular, rather there are other women that want them, and anything to that effect. You want to be seen as valuable enough that, yeah, I'm gonna break these rules. I know I normally don't sleep on the first date, but for you, I sure will. I know I normally, talk a lot of shit, and I know I'm this and I'm that. No, not for you. For you, I'm willing to break all of that, right? That, young men, that is the type of men that you want to build yourself into, that type of man. And if you're not that man now, that's okay. Armed with this knowledge, you need to start building towards that. You want to be the man that she's willing to break rules for. It sucks. It absolutely sucks being on the other side of that spectrum. But you can build now. You're young enough to build. I didn't know this at 20, right? So I just kept chasing, right? But knowing, armed with this information now, you don't have to do that. Either find you a woman or hold out for the one that is willing to break rules for you, or build yourself into the man that women are willing to do that for. All right. So let's go to the questions. Denzel says, 2 weeks ago, I got money stolen from my working partner who I was really close with for a month. I was being really nice to him and got used. Never trusted anyone again. Yeah, that's unfortunate, Denzel. And what you're going to find, man, is that it is the people closest to you that will do you the most damage. I tell young men all the time, don't run with a lot of men. That is a rule that my father set with me as far back as I can remember. And his thing was, you know what? It'll be your buddy that'll sleep with your woman. It'll be your buddy that'll be running you down behind your back. It'll be those closest to you. So let that be a lesson to you, Denzel, that I wouldn't go as far as to say that you shouldn't trust anybody again. I just believe, man, that life is going to teach you over time that you can't trust everybody, no matter how close you are to them, that you always have to be, especially as a man, you always have to kind of have that one eye open, one eye closed type mentality. So I'm sorry that that happened to you, man, but that's a good lesson. That's a good lesson for you early on to know that everybody's not your friend, even though they call you that. And it's only someone's actions over time that will let you know if they can be trusted. So don't lock people out, man, because there's absolutely someone that will befriend you and wouldn't do you that way. Many will, unfortunately, but there are some that won't. And your job as a young man is to have enough foreknowledge and enough game out here to recognize those types of people. And you just learned that with this incident. So hope that helps, man. Moko Dale. Oh man, you told me your name yesterday. I can't remember it. Hi, hope you're doing right. How to build yourself in a country where it's really hard to build yourself financially, especially at a young age. You know what, man? If you can leave, that would be my first suggestion. But if you can't, certainly, man, there are people wherever you are, regardless of what country you're in, there are people that are widely successful there. So you find out, what they're doing, how they got where they got. There's a way, right? I don't care where you are. There's a way, man, that you can, build and sustain yourself, right? What's the industry there? What's the jobs there that you can start into on a very low level and build yourself up? You may have to work 2, 3, 4 of them, right, in order to do that. But there's men and there are people wherever you are that are successful. Now, it may look differently than other places, but they are. So you need to find that out, D. You need to find that out. And it may take for you to move. May take for you to move, man, and go somewhere else other than where you are, right? And if you're young, it's okay for you to do that because you have the time, you have the wherewithal, you have the energy to just pick up and go. So if it's not happening where you are, man, jump off somewhere else. If you can't jump off somewhere else, D, find the people that are successful in your area and find out what they're doing, right? Let's see, Vince. Does time feel like it moves faster as you get older? Yes. If so, how do you make sure you're making the most out of it? Vince, you have to schedule. You have to schedule time. I'm going to do a video on that tonight, as a matter of fact. One of the viewers yesterday had asked about time management. And my thing is, I'm a big proponent on time, Vince, because I wasted so much of it. But you have to plan and you have to schedule time because it's going to roll whether you do that or not. So, you would be better suited, man, taking it, planning and not wasting any of it. Because again, whether you plan or not, that clock is still ticking. Everything that I do for the most part is planned, man. I got an hour for this. I got an hour. If I would have done that when I was younger, I'd be in a much better place. But yeah, you got to plan, man, because it does. It does. It seems like when I was in my 20s, man, oh my God, it was wonderful. Like every day was a weekend. Every day I was working out, I was kicking it, I was chasing women, and it was glorious. But the only problem with that is I stood still in my thinking, but time didn't. And knowing what I know now, man, back then, I would have done a lot of that stuff, but I would have planned it better so that I would have time to pursue other things, my passion, building my finances, learning about stuff, that type of thing that I neglected because I thought I had a lot of time. You got to plan, man. You got to plan your time, right? Especially when you get older, because if you're like me, you have more of it behind you than you have in front of it. So time is important. That's why I prioritize it. I am pissed. I am pissed, man, when somebody messes with my time. I should have been like that when I was 20 something. But I wasn't, because I wasn't thinking the way I'm thinking now. But because of what you're saying, that I'm older now, man, and these days are flying by and time is against me. Yeah, man, don't fuck with my time. Don't mess with my time. If I'm supposed to do something for you here and you 5 minutes late, I am fuming. I'm fuming because ain't got time. Ain't got time. But if I would have had that thought prime back, or if I would have had that thought, Vince, back when I was 20 something, I'd be in a much better place today. I'm doing a video on that tonight, man. That'll probably be out tomorrow. Check that out. Hey, buddy, Prime is back. What's up, Prime? Bro, whatever happened, I planned, ended up, bro, whatever I plan, I end up in the same place. I feel like I'm stuck in a loop. I'm 20. Even today morning when I wake up, I just stare at the ceiling. I wish I can go back to my childhood. Yeah, Prime, you're not going back to your childhood. You're a 20-year-old grown man, right? And you're responsible. You're responsible. Instead of just staring at the ceiling, man, get up and do something. I don't give a shit if it's walking around in the park. You got to get up and do something to help yourself. Nobody, man, at 20 years old, nobody cares anymore. Nobody is looking at you like, oh, Prime, come on, it'll be okay. You got to get up, buddy, and ain't nobody doing that for you, man. Nobody's doing that for you at all. So, this ideal of feeling stuck in a loop, do something to get out of the loop. If you know what, start, I don't know if you work out, start going to the gym to get out of that loop. If you don't work out, go to a bookstore, go to a library and grab some books on something, get online and search out something that you're interested in. But this just staring at the ceiling, that ain't gonna get it, bro. That ain't gonna get it. Because the reality of it is, man, all of us, a lot of people feel stuck in the loop. You're the only one that can get yourself out of that, because nobody is coming to do it. Nobody is coming to do it for you, man. So get up and do something. I don't give a shit what it is. Get up out of that bed and stop staring at the ceiling, and get up and think, what can I do today? Let me do something different than I did yesterday. Even if that is just going for a walk around the block. Even if that is getting a piece of paper and saying, I'm going to plan the rest of my week out. What am I going to do? I'm not going to stay in this bed and stare at the ceiling. I'm going to get up and do fucking something. Something, man. But that at 20 years old, no, man. Can't do that, bro. Can't do that. You cannot do that. You have to get up and do something. I get up and do these lives, Prime, and I know that they're not the best. I know that on many a mornings, man, that it sucks. My video's the same way. But you got to do something. That is how you get better at it. That is how you grow. You don't grow, man, just staring, looking at the ceiling. Get up out of that damn bed, man, and go to work. Go do so. Are you working? Are you working? I would suggest, Prime, if you got time just to stare into space, and maybe you need more employment. I don't know if you're working or not now, but grab another job, man. You need to get busy. You're 20. You're 20 years old, man. Talking about, I feel like I'm stuck in a rut. You want to know what a real rut is, Prime? Try being 30 and 40 years old and you got mouths to feed. You got a woman and you can't put a roof over their head. You just lost your job. A buddy of mine is dying right now with cancer and stuff like, bro, that's a rut. You're stuck in a rut because why? You can't, you feel like, no, Prime, come on, man. And I ain't even getting on your back, bro. Please don't take this the wrong way. I'm just trying to motivate you, man. I'm just trying to motivate you that you're stuck in a rut, bro. Get up and do something. Something, right? Because the only person that's going to get you out of your rut is you. Ain't nobody coming to save you, bro. You're the only somebody that can do that for yourself. Like I said, I'm not getting on you, and you can say whatever all day long, but at the end of the day, you're the only one that's going to be able to get yourself out of that. And ain't nobody coming to save you, bro. What would you tell your 28-year-old self, Ishan? What would I tell my 28-year-old self? Again, stop caring what people think. What's going on, Noon? Oh, wow. Okay, the dude. What's going on, brother? What would I tell my 28-year-old self? Yeah, man. Stop chasing these women. Build your value. Stop giving a shit about what other people think about you, and find out what it is that you really want to do and go after it. But more than anything, Ishan, stop giving a damn about what other people think. That stopped me more than I care to remember, man. So that would be one. The dude, I appreciate it, bro. Thank you, man. Thank you very much. Keep supporting the channel, man. I'm trying. That I'm getting better, man. I'm just an old dude out here trying to give games so y'all can avoid a lot of the crazy that I went through, man, when I was younger. So I certainly appreciate that. Guys, we're up against time. 31 minutes. I told you, like, we start on time here. We finish on time because I respect y'all's time, right? So we going to do what we said we was going to do here. Listen, one-on-one coaching is still available. My email is on some of my videos in the video description. Send me an email if you're interested. Put coaching in the subject line so I can tell you how that whole process works. Listen, go over to the channel, man. I got some pretty good content over there for you guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Guys, I am thinking, I said at one time that I was going to do these Monday through Saturday. But because I have to be at work at second shift, like noon and that, I got to have a day, man, where I can get some stuff done before I go into work. So I'm going to do these Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock. Monday through Friday, right? So, John, I appreciate you, brother. Come back tomorrow, man. Come back tomorrow. Ask me that question, bro. I'll be back at 11 tomorrow. We'll do it all over again. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. We'll be back with another one tomorrow.